Hi everyone, this is Tina with Dirt Therapy, and today I'm going to be planting some allium bulbs. These are really great bulbs for spring color, and I will throw a picture up so you can see what the Globemaster Alliums look like, but they are gorgeous. Right now I am taking a Russian sage from another bed and I'm placing it inside the bed here so it can grow on until next spring. I'm just putting it in there, no fertilizer in this section right now. There's no reason. Russian sage do not need additional fertilizer to grow on and be beautiful. So I am just leaving it without any type of fertilizer. Next, I have my biotone fertilizer. I have run out of the biotone, so I'm using the plant tone instead, which works just as well. The biotone starter fertilizer is definitely more accessible. However, I am just using it because I have it on hand. It works the same way as the biotone starter fertilizer. Next, I'm going to pull out the remaining cosmos. They were looking very beautiful, and these were seeded from the batch of cosmos that I already tore up last week. They can really mass produce themselves and self seed. So that is the reason why I am changing to this bed being the cut flower garden where the Globemaster Alliums are going to be planted. In addition, I should see some cosmos come up next year. The nice thing about the cosmos is that they are slow growers, so I can grab the plants that I don't want in the cut flower garden and I can just remove those. That way I can make a smaller batch of cosmos in this bed, at least during the spring. Once they start growing into the summertime, it is harder to get in there and take out the dead or spent blooms because they will drop those seeds back in and mass produce more. I probably should have pulled these last week when I cleaned out this bed. However, I was not ready to pull all the flowers that were still blooming out of this bed. I just wanted to see a little bit more color, but we are looking for freezing temperatures into late next week. So it's a better time than any to get in here, clean this out, and work on getting the Globemaster Allium bulbs planted. I have a strawberries here at the very end of the flower bed, and for now I'm going to leave them here because only one of the plants is producing strawberries. I don't want to disrupt it. I want to give it one more year to see if I need to replace all of the strawberries. Strawberries only last a few years before you have to replace them. However, many of these are small and runners that came off the mother plant. So I want to give them enough time to be able to produce some strawberries for the upcoming year. Now all I have left is just to clean up the rest of the debris from the flower bed before I can plant the allium. I also wanted to just rake the rest of the debris and even out the dirt a little bit. When I pull everything, it makes it uneven in the flower bed, so the rake is the easiest way to grab the rest of the debris so we're not harboring any insects, and to level out the dirt area so I can have a clean surface. As I was cleaning out the space, I found two red onions that I had planted in the spring and I had harvested them. However, the cosmos had pretty much taken over the whole flower bed. So some of the red onions were hidden inside of the bed and I could not pick them. So nice surprise. I had already come out here one other time and found a couple onions hiding, but really exciting. I found two more to add to the stock. Now they're not very big because the cosmos had crowded them out. They weren't getting their proper sunlight and they weren't getting their proper water because of the way that the cosmos had grown. Now I'm just taking the plant tone fertilizer and sprinkling it on the top. Now I'm not going to brush it in right now or loosen it into the soil yet because I am going to be covering the allium bulbs with the soil that is already on there. So the fertilizer will be just fine. Now that I have it all prepped and ready, I am starting to work on the allium bulbs. They are absolutely stunning, and I will throw up a picture so you can see what they look like in spring. If I haven't done that already, this is what they look like. They have the roots on the bottom and then the sprout on the top. So what you're going to do is roots down, and you're going to go down about 3 to 4 inches. I have spaced them pretty far apart, maybe a foot, because the green growth that comes off the bottom of the Globemaster Allium can be fairly large. It is about 12 to 18 inches, but it does not hurt the plants at all to be planted close together. In fact, as these produce the bulbs, they will have additional growth on the sides, kind of like you would see with a surprise lily, or another name for that is a naked lady. It looks like an onion bulb and it has sprouts that grow off the sides. That is how the allium bulbs will also produce, which is really nice because they can be planted together in a bouquet of some sort in your garden bed, or they can be planted separately. Right now, I'm just trying to make sure that the soil isn't compacted down low. I should have probably tilled the area just to make sure that all of the soil was loose. However, it is allowing me enough space to be able to plant the Globemaster Alliums. I have a few bags of Globemaster Alliums to plant in here, and I ended up with one extra bag that I was not able to plant in this area. I will put this in the landscape, and I think I have the perfect place to put them. If you're looking to grow alliums, here are some tips and tricks and care that they need. Plant the bulbs in the fall because they need our cold stratification period to bloom in spring. They do grow 2 to 3 times as deep as they do as high, so definitely make sure that they have enough space. Provide them full sun for the strongest stems and best color. Deadhead after blooming to discourage unwanted seedlings in your garden. However, I haven't noticed any seedlings. I know people who will paint them after they have spent their purple blooms and they turn brown to get a little bit of extended color to spray paint them purple. I have not tried that myself, but I definitely want to try that. You can divide them in the spring or early fall. However, I have allowed my bulbs to continue the growth process. So if you have one bulb planted in a section, by the following year you should have two. And then it grows into 4 and on until you have a wonderful spread of the Globemaster Alliums. They do not like excessive moisture, especially when they have become dormant. You can always lift and divide the larger clumps in the fall or the spring. They grow in hardiness zones 5 through 8, and they can reach a height of 1.5 to 2.5 feet and produce those beautiful colored flowers in spring. I absolutely love them in the garden. I have several of them in different places. The Globemaster is the height that I'm always looking for. However, there are many varieties of allium that you can find at your perfect height. Now that I am finished planting the allium bulbs, I am moving over to the flower bed or raised bed that had the cannas and the zinnias in there. Now that the cut flower garden has moved over to the Globemaster Allium Cosmo area, this is going to be the bed that I plant the garlic and our lettuce. I got the butter crunch lettuce and the uh, different types of garlic, which I will show you here in a little while. But right now, I'm just cleaning the debris out of here as well. Cannas do create a lot of uneven soil, so this is the perfect opportunity to even out the dirt and get all of the remaining debris, dried leaves, and I just pulled the zinnias out of this bed as well off camera because they were looking really good when I was taking the cannas out, but they have since faded and were not looking the greatest. So I went ahead and just pulled those as well to make way for the new garlic and lettuce. This is going to be the space that I am putting the garlic in. Each bulb, which I have 3 bulbs, have several fleshy cloves inside each of the bulbs that I received from Gurney's. Gurney's is an online store that I like to buy my bulbs at. I also buy my bulbs at Color Blends for my flowers, but for the edibles, I go to Gurney's. You saw me add the plant tone into the soil, and the reason it is very important to do this step is because onions and garlic are heavy feeders. This is a garlic variety soft neck, and it is the California white that I'm going to be doing today. Now there's 2 different types of garlic. There are soft neck and hard neck. You'll see soft necks being braided into clove braids. I don't even know what to call that really, but they are braided for drying purposes. And then hard necks have a very hard neck, just like the name says. And hard necks are better for cooler climates. However, I wanted some soft necks this season instead of doing the hard neck. So now I have the garlic cloves prepped and ready to plant into the ground. What you want to do is gently pull the fleshy cloves off of the main piece and only use the ones that are larger. If you go for the smaller ones that are towards the center, they are not as productive, so you will not get a large bulb. So now I'm just going to plant them down into the soil just a few inches. I am not totally specific on how far down I go. I just kind of feel for the soil and how loose it is to be able to push them down into the soil. And I do know that I have some hard compacted soil underneath. So really it's just a matter of getting them in and being able to cover them with the potting soil with the fertilizer in a little while once I'm all done. The reason why I'm not covering it up with dirt right away is because I want to leave it there so I can kind of watch where I'm planting the other ones. As I get to the center, you'll see that these ones are not very big. They're very thin, they're very small. Those are ones that I will not use to plant into the bed. They just won't produce the way that I would want them to. So I am discarding those ones. I have moved on to my next bulb. And I have just enough of the cloves to plant up this area. Last year I only had about 17 bulbs themselves to plant, and the cloves themselves weren't very big. Even though it was watered frequently, it just did not grow to the size that I would have anticipated it growing to. And I think part of that is attributed to using the smaller pieces last year, included the big pieces. But I still had a really nice harvest of garlic. I harvested in July, and I had several very large cloves, which I have taken all of the paper off and processed them, froze them in the freezer. So the first thing I did was take the garlic cloves and take them apart, take off all the papers, and I put them on a cookie sheet and threw them in the freezer to flash freeze. You can just use a regular cookie sheet in your chest freezer. That's what I did. Some people use a flash freezer, which those are fairly pricey, so it is something that I can't use myself. So I improvise by putting it on a cookie sheet flat in the chest freezer. Then once they are frozen, I can take them and put them in a baggie. I double baggie it in a freezer safe Ziploc baggie, and I store them in the freezer. And then when I want to pull out any garlic, I will just pull out what I need. They're not stuck together and they don't smell up your freezer. It is a great way to preserve your garlic without having to store it in a dry, cool place. Now we're moving on to the lettuce. I got a 4-pack of lettuce at the garden center, and it is the butter crunch lettuce. That is our favorite lettuce to eat. It's just so good and it lasts such a long time. In fact, we were eating the butter crunch lettuce for months until it finally got too hot and bolted. In fact, I think we were eating it until the end of June, which was really fabulous. We ate so much of it. I made wraps, and it was just a really healthy alternative to bread. So I did put some of the biotone plant tone in here to give the lettuce a little bit of a fertilizer, but it really doesn't need it at this point. It is going to get really cold here very soon, so it's not going to put on any growth, but I did want to just throw a little bit in the soil just in case, give it a little bit more of a chance at growing a little bit more so we have some really good lettuce to eat. I am so glad I got this project done. Lettuce in, Globemaster Alliums in, and the garlic. So thank you, everybody, and we will see you next time. Have a great garden day.